Now, Patrick, what do we have in the sky? What did we have in the sky? What do we have in the sky coming? And what's on the moon behind me? Anyway, take it away.
Okay, well, what did happen last year? Let's start with this. You may remember we broadcast the lunar eclipse on May 26th of last year. It was a total lunar eclipse. Here is a diagram showing the moon moving through the Earth's penumbra, which is the lighter part of the Earth's shadow projected into space, and then right into the umbra at the greatest eclipse, which occurred at 4:18 early morning. This event kept us very busy here at the observatory as we streamed this eclipse on the internet to the world so everyone can see it. So the umbra is the darkest part of the Earth's shadow that's cast by the Earth onto the moon, and the atmosphere of the Earth bends the light, and particularly the red light ends up on the moon, creating this beautiful orange look for the moon during the eclipse. The skies, as you can see here in this picture, look pretty good. We streamed it from the roof. We had all our gear set up. But as the night wore on, clouds began to form, so it worried us a little bit. But we were able to take these beautiful pictures of the lunar eclipse as it progressed towards totality. This is where it was closer to totality, but you're getting a little hint of those clouds. Unfortunately, the totality moment was blocked by clouds, and then the clouds just cleared enough several minutes after totality ended. You can see it in this image here. And we still got a beautiful view of the total lunar eclipse. Then it got cloudy again, and then when the moon was in partial eclipse, it got clear again. So there's a view of the moon towards the west. Moon was still in eclipse as it was setting. We observed through dawn as the moon had set. So that was that event, and it was very successful. We have a record of that eclipse. There's a 1-minute version, and you can watch the full 3-hour version on our YouTube channel. There was a second lunar eclipse in November. This one was not a total eclipse, it was a partial lunar eclipse. The moon moved through the umbra and clipped the southern edge of the darkest part of the Earth's shadow, the umbra. At mid-eclipse, the moon was almost total. In fact, 97% of the moon fell within the umbra. So it was a near total or an almost total lunar eclipse. The weather was not very kind that night. There was a lot of marine layer. Even though the observatory is about 1,000 feet above sea level, we thought we might be just high enough to get a clear view of the eclipse near the top of the marine layer. But unfortunately, the marine layer was a little bit higher than the observatory. But we were able to get peaks of the partial lunar eclipse, and this was taken just a few minutes after the maximum eclipse. So we did at least get a good view of it. Also, we had many observers, including our team, including our director, who was definitely dressed for the occasion, photographing the partial lunar eclipse. He was dressed because shortly after the maximum eclipse occurred, we chased the dragon away. All right, so what happened with the planets? Well, we were kind of fortunate this year for planets in the evening sky. If you look down there towards the horizon, Venus emerged, and its apparent motion took it eastward away from the sun. It climbed higher as the summer months went by, and it was visible also through autumn into winter. And it was joined, as we moved around the sun, joined by the two largest planets in the solar system, Jupiter and Saturn. So there were 3 planets that observers can enjoy, and indeed they did. They were able to photograph and observe Venus, also the planet Jupiter, and take these superb pictures. And here's a view of Saturn. And as a bonus, and this is an unexpected bonus, a comet flew by, made its closest approach to Earth on December 12th. Now, this comet was predicted to be just naked eye. Unfortunately, it was only visible through binoculars and telescopes, so it wasn't bright enough that you could actually see it from the city, but it was impressive as amateur astronomers were able to capture these incredible images of Comet Leonard. Now, this comet is a long-period comet, and as it swung around the sun, it's on its way out away from the sun and will not return for another 80,000 years. So that's just kind of like a once-in-a-lifetime event if you see it. This takes us to this year. What do we have to look forward for this year? Well, we have another total lunar eclipse. Why do we have so many total lunar eclipses? Well, it turns out that this is the third eclipse out of 4 in what is called a lunar eclipse tetrad, which by definition is 4 consecutive lunar eclipses 6 months apart. So notice the date here, it's May 15th. The last one was May 26th, almost a year away. The moon moves near the central part of the umbra and will give us a long eclipse. But this one is actually interesting because it occurs as the moon is rising from Los Angeles. So it will be an early evening event. And the moon will be total at 9:11 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time to the southeast. So there'll be more about this. A spectacular event in the morning sky occurs when there are 5 planets all lined up, including the moon. And the planets are actually lined up in order of the distance from the sun. Close to the horizon, to the northeast, you have Mercury. Higher up is Venus. Then you have the moon, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And then after that, we have the next event, which is our final lunar eclipse of lunar eclipse tetrad, which occurs on November 8th. This one occurs in the early morning, so the moon goes total on the 8th at 2:59 a.m. That's that maximum eclipse over in the west. And to cap off the biggest events of this year, on December 7th, the moon will move in front of the planet Mars. The moon will hide Mars for about an hour. This will be a fantastic opportunity to observe it in the evening around about 6:30. Mars will be 1 day from its opposition, so it will be very bright and not hard to miss. A pair of binoculars or even a small telescope is recommended to observe this grand disappearance of the planet Mars behind the moon. So that's what we have to look for this year, and we'll be covering all of that in our sky reports.
Well, thank you, Patrick. It's going to be an exciting year up in the sky, and that Mars moon occultation, that's going to be fun to watch through a telescope. So a good reason to go out and pick up one if you want to see that.